gonna shoot it straight with you here, Corn Pop. This whole time I've been joking around like, yeah, like the world is trash, like everything's garbage, whatever. But it turns out it actually is. With each passing day, it takes less and less time for me to find what hot garbage topic I'm gonna talk about today. And I gotta say, it's kind of discouraging. The more research I do, the less I realize that I know. And the more that I look into these massive corporations and these conglomerates and the people that run them and their attachments and ties to all of the political structures and where the money flows and how they dictate what we think about and how we act and what we do in our daily life, the more you realize that they kind of got us by the beanbag and they're going to shove it into our news. I don't mean to drop a hot brown in your cold porridge, but here's a news flash for those of you that don't already know this. But the people at the top of the political structure and the people at the top of Washington and the vast majority of pretty much every single person outside of the immediate circle of people that love you could care less about you and will immediately and with absolute certainty shove you off a platform in front of a train at a moment's notice, oftentimes for a little bit of money. And what this garbanzo realization should teach us is that here's the thing. Personal liberty, freedom, the power of the people, and the power of you to run, operate, and dictate how you live your own life should be the creed that we should be following. It should be following the letter of the law. It should be following the Constitution. And anything, absolutely anything that gives more power to larger structures or centralizes power or authority to people that are not us should be a concern and it should not be something we support. Yet despite this obvious truth, for some reason, people that are mad at the system and mad at the structure and mad at the government and mad at the corporations somehow want to give more power to it. It doesn't make sense. Why don't you want to give power to, I don't know, yourself, to, I don't know, the people, to, I don't know, the neighborhoods and the communities in which we all live? Because we would do a whole hell of a lot better than any of these jabrones. But despite all that, every single person seems to be like, what does Fauci? What does Fauci say? What did Fauci say? What did my political overlord say? What did AOC say? What did Bernie Sandbags say today? Who cares? But hey, don't take my word for it. Just look around for the evidence because it's, I don't know, everywhere. According to Bloomberg News, the International Revenue Service is planning to ramp up audits of small businesses and their investors by about 50% in 2021. According to this article in Bloomberg, the result of this could be a surge of audits for companies ranging from small mom-and-pop retail stores to technology startups and investment firms. Dope. That's awesome. IRS dope. So if you happen to manage your way through this year, get ready next year because you're going to get your cheeks clapped by the IRS. I'm sure that will be inexpensive and not time-consuming. Time that you could otherwise spend saving your struggling business the last shred of it. Okay, dope. Meanwhile, because the world is garbage and every single thing you see on TV and read in magazines is true and not influenced by a larger overlord hell-bent on ruining everything, Esquire magazine, which is owned by Hearst Media, one of the largest media conglomerates on the planet, named CNN's Jake Tapper 2020's King of Truth. Jake Tapper, King of Truth. Let me remind you that Jake Tapper works for CNN. That's the joke, the King of Truth. Recently, Jake Tapper, King of Truth, was on Brian Stelter's CNN show called Reliable Sources, which is hilarious because it's anything but. And Brian Stelter, who looks like a partially melted Frosty the Snowman if it was built by Hunter Biden. And as I squandered 23 seconds of my life watching these two clown sneakers talk about something, it was like watching two metal trash can lids clap in the breeze, and it was just as productive. And in that 23 seconds, I watched Jake Tapper, King of Truth, say that he never booked Kayleigh McEnany on his show because she, and I quote, lies like most people breathe. Oh, really, Tap? First of all, jabroni, absolutely no one speaks that way of Slaley, our queen. Jake Tapper accusing Slaley of lying too much when he works for CNN is like Krusty accusing somebody else, any person on the planet, of having a bad laugh. It's kind of like when Joey Basement accused Donnie Ballgame's family of getting favorable treatment as a result of his position. Oh, really? That's so funny coming from Joey Basement and the Basement Garbage family. Yeah, nothing to see there. No integrations there. No favors there. If you aren't already convinced that the political class is full of garbage merchants and trash hounds, you need to look no further than the stuff that gets stuffed into your arm as a result of this stuff that's occurring right now and all of the people that are getting it. Because if you have eyes, you notice that the people that are most susceptible to this, the ones that are at the highest risk of this, and ultimately the ones that have been dying of this at the highest rates are the elderly, are people over 70 and 80 years old, especially ones that are compromised. Yet, who seems to be getting prioritized for the stuff, for the juice? Interesting. Has anybody else considered how interesting it is that young people like AOC, like people like Krusty and Krusty's husband are on TV receiving this juice. Yet there's plenty of elderly people in, nursing homes that have not. Oh, nobody seems to care how relatively young and healthy healthcare workers are also being prioritized again over people that are extremely likely to be negatively affected by this. And look, I'm not saying that they're the worst out there, but has anyone ever considered that? Has anyone ever considered it being by, people that are at the most risk of, death? Because you have members of the squad, the woke squad, out on Capitol Hill talking about how we should be prioritizing inmates and people in prison. That's right. There are people in prison that have received this juice before the elderly. People in prison, juice before the elderly. How does that make sense? Oh, wait, because this is not a free market, because this is how the government does things. This is because nothing matters and everything is literal trash. And just because I have the audacity to suggest that a person in prison probably shouldn't be getting this juice before a elderly person in a nursing home does not mean that I'm anti people in prison getting it. And quite frankly, I'm anti whatever, but we can't talk about that because it's white privilege, misogynist, sexist, xenophobic, racist. No, because none of that matters, because all that matters is identity. All that matters is wokeness and being extremely woke at the expense of human life. It's wokeness over everything. Wokeness is God, and the woke squad are our leaders. Because most of this stuff is not based on science. It is based on control. The only voices that matter are voices that fit the narrative. There have been officials that have come out that have talked about, well, we don't really know the efficacy of this, and we don't know that this is going to happen. We don't know this is actually going to change anything. And you still got to diaper, and you still got to do this, and the goalposts keep moving. And then the herd of cattle and the garbarunity, that keeps changing, and literally all these things keep changing. Meanwhile, the woke mob is in control of the distribution, and it's being distributed based on your race and who's the most woke and this class and this. And meanwhile, these people are the ones that want universal health care. You want to know that the structure is going to be in control of who gets screened for this or who gets treated for this or what line you have to go in to get this or that. Yo! I mean, that's the joke. That's the punchline. Everything is trash. And despite all of this trash, while everyone is suffering and everything is getting destroyed, all they're doing in our halls of power is arguing over $600 and $2,000 and who is more woke? We need this now. And absolutely no one with any level of authority that has any level of voice is talking about, maybe like opening up again. That would be the solution. Open up! But as I said before, nothing matters. It's destruction at all costs. Absolutely everything is a trash heap. No one can be trusted. There's garbanzo in every single line of information. It's all trash! Every single thing is just a swamp of hot garbanzo beans, and the only way that we can save ourselves is to do research, to communicate with each other, to look things up, to influence and talk to each other. That's it. That's the only thing we got. Every single thing else is tainted. So as all these clown shoes argue with each other and pit all of us against each other and fight over things that are inconsequential to them but detrimental to us, we fight with each other, with our friends, our family, the people closest to us, the people in our community, over stuff that we have no control over, for people and other structures and entities that don't care about us. It should be us fighting for us, protecting us, the power to us. Free market, personal liberty, freedom. That's the key. That's the only savior. But where is it? It's gone. And every single person out there that's mad at this structure, that wants to vote for more of it and endorse more of it and give more power to those exact same people and structures that could not care less about us, you're going to get a whole lot more of this trash. The only people that can fix it are us. And the way to fix it is liberty. But whatever, absolutely nothing's going to change unless we do something about it. But whatever, let's just dismiss all of our power and responsibility to our overlords that could care less about us. But no big deal. But at least we're getting hundreds and hundreds of memes of that guy getting clapped in the face with a can of Twisted Tea. That's about the best thing that happened this year, 2020. Twisted Tea, clap in the face. Dope.